Ready?
Yep.
All right. Welcome to Tommy Knows Best Sports Podcast. Today I got a guest, and we're doing it live at Tony's. And my guest is Brian Oblinus. Brian, what's up? Say hi to my fans.
Hey, fans of Tommy Sports.
Hey, all right. So we're gonna talk some football. We're gonna talk about the Patriots. They got a big game coming up Monday night. They're on the road at Arizona, the Arizona Cardinals, and I want to know how you feel about them and how you felt all season long with them this year.
Well, I don't feel too good about them right now. I haven't felt good all season. They seem to have regressed. The coaching is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a lot of buy-in with some of the guys, and I think it's gonna be a long season the rest of the way through as well.
What do you think what the problem is with this offense this year so far?
Well, number one, it's the coaching and the play designs. They have neither of both. It's way too hard just to stick somebody that never coached offense to try to design plays.
Yeah.
First, they changed their offensive blocking, their schemes, and then so they wasted time in the preseason.
Yeah.
Now they try to go back to a regular offense with a second-year quarterback, and he has seemed to regress also. So it's a combination.
He has, and I think it's the coaching around him. I think it's Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. Those two guys never succeed they never did good in their other jobs as head coaches. Patricia was never good with the Lions, and Joe Judge was never good with the Giants. And it seems like it's an ongoing situation with this team now.
Yes.
He made two guys that never coached offense to be this offensive coordinators. One's an offensive coordinator, one is the quarterback's coach. Neither of them have no business doing what they're doing. And if they lose this game, I think people's jobs are going to be in jeopardy this season.
I think there's already rumblings out there. You heard Peter King, you've heard Greg Bedard.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard Tommy Curran.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
getting it from somewhere.
They're getting it somewhere.
And it's not from other coaches. It's going to be somebody in the building, which probably means on the Kraft side.
I think it's Mr. Kraft himself, because we heard the cuts this whole season. We heard some cuts of him saying we haven't won a playoff game in 3 years.
Yep.
And when then when it's the boss and the owner talking, that means there's something going on.
Sure does.
Like I said, someone's job could be in jeopardy. And is Bill fireable if he's in jeopardy? Can he be in that hot seat this year?
Well, this is going to be the issue.
This is a post-Brady era.
Going forward, they have to make a change at offensive coordinator.
They do.
Bill tries to fight Bob Kraft on it.
Yeah.
Then Bob Kraft might have to say, Bill, listen, you're the best coach in the history of the sport, which I believe. But I think he's lost his fastball, and I think
he has lost his fastball.
I just think that if he can't just keep bringing in his own guys that are getting paid from other teams on the cheap to bring them in, and he thinks guys that are coaches can just coach anything.
I know.
It's the furthest from the truth, especially on offense.
And it's sickening what this team's been playing like. It's so sickening. It's not even fun to watch. It's not fun to watch this offense, and it's not fun to watch these coaches. The defense is okay, but they still have their moments. They still get burnt.
Oh, yeah.
And their next remaining games, they're playing top wide receivers. They're playing Hopkins, and then they're playing
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, and then they're playing Stephon Diggs again. Those are top wide receivers, and those wide receivers will burn your defense. And everyone says the Patriots can still sneak in the playoffs as a 9-8 team. I don't see them sneaking in. I don't see them getting
that
there.
would be the worst thing that can happen, because they're going to get blown out anyway.
Yeah.
You need to rip the Band-Aid off. They have no speed anywhere.
No,
Defense, offense. I mean, they just have no speed at all. You can't do that in the NFL these days. You have to have people that can beat people one-on-one. And besides Matthew Judon on defense, who's kind of had a couple of so games, people are probably game planning for him. They get nobody that can win a one-on-one battle. Ramondre, when your best player on offense or your best player on your team is your running back, then you're more like a 6-win team than a 10-win team.
That's absolutely right. They're more like a 6-win team, not a 10-win team. And after a bye, in the past few years? You know Belichick's record?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's not too good.
It's like 6-11 after a bye week, and that's not good if you're Bill Belichick. And in the post Brady era for the third time in the third season, he's starting to go backwards, Belichick, and he's just a 500 coach, max 500 coach.
I don't know. I don't think long-term Mac Jones is the answer. I don't think Bailey Zappi is the answer. But you did Mac Jones a disservice with handing him to people that don't know offense. You don't have an offensive line coach. You got the same guy trying to coach the offensive line and coach the offense. Dante Scarnecchia, no, you don't compare him to anybody, but he had 20 years as an offensive line coach. That's basically all he did. So you mean to tell me you're going to bring in a defensive guy to replicate the offensive line like Dante Scarnecchia and be an innovator on offense? It was bad planning from the jump.
You're absolutely right, Brian, and it's a bad planning. It's bad. It's just it's a mess in New England, and we're going to jump on another topic. We're going to talk about Tom Brady. We're going to talk TB12 a little bit.
All right.
Terrific. Because all this stuff started when he left.
Yes.
All this nonsense happened when he left with Belichick and all them. And they should have never let him go. Never let him go.
Listen, go ahead.
How do you think he's going to do now for the rest of the season with his Tampa Bay Bucks? Because they've been having an up and down season themselves this year.
Oh yeah, he's not been without his demons as far as being able to move the ball. I know Tampa's got a lot of injuries up front, but I mean the Patriots had as well. But it's still when you're playing in a close game and you have Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, and either it be in the regular season or in the playoffs, he can still pull it out.
He can still pull it out. He's Tom Brady. Tom terrific.
I just 4 years ago, all he wanted was $25 million a year, which was less than some of the guys are equal to Drew Brees. And they just wouldn't go there.
Yes.
And they had to know. Bill had to know that. I think his ego, he was such a, he thought he could win. I mean, there was rumblings 8 years ago that people said that the Patriots think they could win a Super Bowl with the top 15 quarterback. Yeah. Which you can't. And
no, you can't.
I mean, Brady's having an off year, but Brady's on this team right now. Maybe they're 9-3.
9-3? Yes. I said that a couple days ago. What would the Patriots record be with Brady here? 9-3? Some people are saying 10-2.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give them, but he just, I mean, you had the quarterback Tom Brady was always the ultimate trump card.
He was.
For the Patriots.
He was.
Now that he's gone, they can't, even if they're winning a game at the end, Brady would be able to salt the game away on offense. He would slow the game down, keep the ball away from the other team, and they don't have it.
All right. We're going to do football picks before we get into our next topics. You do your 3 and I'll do mine 3.
All right.
You do your 3 first. Brian, what's your 3 games that you like this week with?
All right. I'm going to take the New York Jets getting 10 points. Buffalo, they seem to play in a lot of close games.
I know.
If they're not blowing you out early, it's going to be a fourth quarter game. I know the Jets had already beat them, but I like the 10 points. I'm not saying the Jets are going to beat them outright, but I getting the 10 points. I would definitely take the 10 points.
All right. What's your second pick?
All right.
That's a lock. That's Brian's lock.
My second pick here is going to be, do you do over and unders or do you just want
Let's just do spreads.
Okay, we'll do spreads because I got another team. All right. I know Cleveland has beaten the Bengals the last couple of times I think they played. And Cincinnati's starting to find themselves.
They're finding their way. And I think
Cleveland, I know that they got Deshaun Watson is playing for a second game.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll play a little better, but I just think the 5.5 point. I will give the 5.5 points and go with the Bengals.
Nice. The Bengals is a lock. All right. What's your last and final team?
My last and final team is going to be the best team in the NFC right now, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. I know it's a division game, but I think they're still trending in an upward direction. I think the Giants are kind of middling right now, and they're trying to hold on. So I'm going to give up the 7 points. Usually I don't like these division games, even though I picked all three as division games, but I like the 7 points. Give it the 7 points with Philly.
I like that. All right. There's your locks. So you got you got the Jets, you got Cincinnati, and you got Philly. All right. Now here's my lock.
Okay.
My team, you know what? I like this game. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans are actually kind of find their way.
Yep.
And they're -3.5. And you know what? I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans in that pick right there.
I will agree with you.
Tennessee's finding their way.
That was going to be my pick if I didn't take Philly.
All right. Now my third pick is
your second.
My second pick is you know what? I'm going to the Cleveland and Bengals game like you. And I like the Bengals a lot, like you just said. They're -5.5. They're finding their way. They have Jamar Chase back.
Joe Mixon's probably going to play.
Joe Mixon's going to come back. Their offensive line's finally stepping it up. Their defense is good. And they've beat Mahomes already 3 times this year. So this Cincinnati Bengals team, you got to take them for real. And I'm taking them for real.
Yep.
The Bengals are my second pick. And then my last and final pick is people might, you know what? The Carolina Panthers at the Seattle Seahawks. And Seattle's -3.5. Geno Smith is playing really good. That team is playing good. Their offense, their defense is actually playing good. I like it. I like how they've been playing. You know what? I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks -3.5. That's my last pick. And there's football picks.
I like all three of your picks.
Yes. I'll repeat mine again. The Tennessee Titans -3.5. The Cincinnati Bengals -5.5. And the Seattle Seahawks -3.5. Now I'm going to jump into my next topic. And it's about the Red Hot Bruins, even though they lost the game last night. 4-3 on a little controversy bit by the referees. And I found out today that if the puck goes in the crease, it cancels out an icing. I didn't even know it cancels out an icing.
If it goes through the blue in the crease, that's why they have that color now.
Yeah.
And it extends out a little bit past the goal line. So if it touches or goes through that blue at all, the icing is waved off.
But here's the thing. You should have never let up 4 goals on a bad team like that, on Arizona like that.
Right.
I was down here watching that game, and I was going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, though? Maybe it was a little letdown. They're going out. They're going to be facing Cassidy again.
Yeah, tomorrow, 7:30
so they're
puck
maybe
drop.
Looking ahead, to the game.
Yeah.
That sometimes happens.
You don't want to go 1-2 on the West Coast.
And they lost to Cassidy at home.
Yes.
So they were already thinking.
And he broke the streak. He broke the winning streak.
Yep. I think that was just one of those games where
a fluky game.
Yeah. They play 82 games, 80 games, and it's going to happen over the course of the season that there's sometimes that you just winnable games you're not going to win, in mid-December, mid-January. Yep. So, you never want to lose, but
no, you don't want to ever want to lose any playoff games December or January. Right. And right now, this team is the best team in the NHL. You believe in that little curse come playoff time, the President's Cup and everything, because we already know what happens to the team that finishes as first. You know what happens in the playoffs.
No,
we've seen it multiple times.
They are definitely the best team in hockey to me. I didn't think speed-wise they could keep up with the Colorados and teams like that. Mm-hmm. I think come playoff time, they're still where they are, or right in, even if they go on a little losing streak. Yeah. I think if they get a top 3 or top 4 defenseman, and you just solidify the blue line with the scoring you have, that's what's going to happen. So I think they'll be active and looking for a good big defenseman so you can match up, because a lot of the times the past couple of years, the Bruins just seem too
in the
slow,
second
but
round,
too small.
They get bullied in the second round every year.
Their defensemen are too small. Like Charlie McAvoy plays big, and now you have
Lampus Lindholm, a full season with
Lindholm,
him.
right? But you still need, you can't get away with those smaller guys, and you get like guys like Carlo get beat easy, and
People
know what I mean?
are off and on about Brandon Carlo. You think he should be a trade blog in the trade?
I mean, I don't know.
We won't get nothing with him neither.
Exactly. I mean, maybe if they win it and you can sell high on them and trade, because if you get a guy that's kind of middling it's unless you make a lateral move, you're probably not going to get much from him. Maybe if they win a title and then all of a sudden you can deal a guy like that and somebody looks at him.
And how about David Pastrnak with his contract? With that contract situation, with him racking up all the goals that he's been racking up so far this year.
Oh yeah, he's playing himself into like they're going to have to. It's going to be like the whole Bogarts thing in baseball. Like,
we'll be talking about that.
Like you roll the dice.
Yep.
And he wants to have a good year because he's going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
So he's going to crack the bank. I know. Unless in the playoffs they go one series and out and he does nothing.
Yeah.
But still, people are going to pay for that. He's a young guy. Mm-hmm. He's a skilled guy. He can make plays on his own. Those guys don't grow on trees. So
now, what do you think about now that they have like good lines? All four lines are doing good. And when they move Taylor Hall then down to that third line's been racking up goals a lot. Taylor Hall's finding his way now, and I like it. I like it how this team's playing.
That's what Taylor Hall, I mean, he was a former MVP of the league.
Yeah.
And, I know he's had his struggles when he's the man. But he's got to be ecstatic.
Yeah.
To be on a third line, knowing that the guys in front of him are more talented.
Yeah.
So now he plays against third line forwards against him, and then the third line D pair, because you're not going to put the first D pair on the third line of the Bruins because who's going to go out with Bergeron and Marchand or Pastrnak and Krejci? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's definitely benefiting from being on the third line, and that's probably a good spot for him. When he's the guy, he seems to not be as effective. So that's what I like about him.
Yes. Now I'm going to jump into my next topic. And there's a big game tonight. Right. And it's a big game for the Celtics, and it's the rematch of the NBA Finals. Celtics at Golden State Warriors. And right now, this Celtics team's playing good, but we had some good news yesterday, breaking news. Robert Williams is back, but he is ruled out. I'm happy for that because we shouldn't be rushing him back when the Celtics are doing really good right now. Nope. You don't want to rush him back. Maybe bring him back in that Christmas Day game against the Milwaukee Bucks on Christmas Day. That's when you should bring him back. Limit his minutes. Give him 10, 15 minutes to limit him.
Well, I totally agree with you. Go ahead.
This team right now is playing like they want to win a championship. Tatum is setting a statement right now in the NBA that he's an MVP caliber player and he's top NBA player. He's top 2. And what do you think?
Tatum is without a doubt. I mean, you look at it now. For the past 5 years, just the All-Star. When they pick the All-Stars, it's been LeBron against KD. Yeah. Now it's Tatum and Steph Curry. Yeah. Which, Steph Curry's a smaller guy, but you know what? I take him in a heartbeat on it. But Jason Tatum has just elevated his game. Yeah. He's bought into everything now. He doesn't listen to the outside talk now of having to defend him being a top 5 guy, which now he's definitely a top 2 guy. I was saying that even to you last year that I think he was top 3, even before he was getting all these accolades. But I just, with the Robert Williams thing, I don't think there's any reason why you rush him back. You want to get him back and slowly bring him in because he definitely has a propensity to get hurt. Yeah. Even when things are going well, he's a big guy. Big guys that jump like he does are always going to have leg injuries.
They always will. Absolutely.
Especially working underneath. And he's usually sometimes he's undersized with guys he's defending. So that.
Like Giannis.
Yeah. And even have a little more weight than him. But just think, the Celtics are basically the number one defensive team in basketball.
They are.
Stats wise. And then they don't even have, I know Marcus Smart, they don't even have their best
Defensive player of the year. Defensive player of the year.
Yeah. I mean, Marcus Smart was, but I mean, now you're bringing, I think Robert Williams is more disruptive because he can help on other people. Like Marcus, Smart is a great individual defender, but the thing that makes Robert Williams so valuable is one-on-one. Sometimes guys can, muscle him up like Giannis, but he's affects all the play around him because he can leave his guy if he's not covering a guy that scores, and just block shots from anywhere on the floor.
You're absolutely right. I agree with you, Brian. You're 100% right. And hey, the Celtics is gonna do good because I see this team right now. I see the Bruins in them right now are the teams to talk about in Boston sports.
Oh yeah,
because we might be having a good spring/summer. I've been saying this since the season started. I'll tell you, it stays. Hopefully, these two teams they peak in early because you know how about the teams peaking early.
Yeah,
you know how we already.
But you know what?
What
in the NBA, the young teams and the young guys they gotta earn their way. I know some people wanted to anoint the Celtics a year or two ago and they made the finals, but the NBA is always like that. You got to start beating the bullies that beat you, and I just think the way they're playing right now, I just think we'll see later on in the year. With the coach right now, sometimes I think he should call timeouts. When he doesn't, he lets them play through it.
Yeah.
So maybe he's doing that early to see what he has. But I think tonight's game, though, I know it's a regular season game. I know the Warriors are still they're still mathematically out of the playoffs. They will be there at the end. But I think this is their own statement game for themselves tonight.
They blew a game. They blew a game a couple nights ago against the Utah Jazz, and they should have won that game. They choked it up. They coughed it up.
I just think Steph Curry, when his back's against the wall, I think they're going to play the Celtics good tonight. I would still take the Celtics, but I just think you're going to see. And if the Celtics, I actually want to see Golden State have the lead maybe in the fourth quarter early by 8 points, and I want to see the Celtics come back and win the game late. I think that would help the Celtics psyche, and so
Jaylen Brown is wearing the same shoes that he was wearing that he wore in the NBA Finals. So maybe he's trying to set a statement. This Celtics team, they win. They're setting a statement to this Golden State Warriors team. We ain't your bully. You guys, you ain't our bullies anymore, and we ain't your little kids anymore.
Yeah, well, they kind of cowered a little to Draymond Green in the finals.
Yeah,
and I know Draymond Green isn't having a year, but Draymond Green, once he started,
no Andrew Wiggins tonight neither. There's a big layup.
I mean,
no Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, he had his way with Tatum, especially late in the series.
Yes,
like Tatum.
The Celtics were up 2-0 and they blew a 2-0 lead. And
once Wiggins started, and he's not known as a defensive guy. Once he started getting up on Tatum, I don't think Tatum had an answer for it, and I think that's why he came back this year and worked on his game. And
they did. Him and Jaylen Brown are working on their team. Tatum's setting himself up that he's proven himself. He is MVP and he's top 2. And Jaylen Brown's showing himself that he is all-time NBA player.
Oh yeah,
those two.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be the face of the NBA.
Both of them.
Yeah, for the next 5 years. But I don't know how long Jaylen Brown will be here, unfortunately. But we'll see. We'll cross that path when we have.
You know who my current favorite Celtics player is, and now here we go. Current Bill Russell, Paul Pierce. Now Jason Tatum, Robert Williams.
There you go.
What's yours?
All time?
Yeah.
I mean, I love Larry all time, and I know KG was only here for a short time. I just love what he brought. I like leaders that come in from other teams, even though Paul Pierce was the leader.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of like Kevin Garnett to Cross Sports when Rodney Harrison came into the Patriots in 2003 and basically came in with a bunch of leaders, and he became one of the alpha dog leaders when you had, Brewski, the Seymour, you had, all those guys, Ty Law. But, and then for the current team, I love what Robert Williams does here. I might have to say the same too you do. Even I love Jaylen Brown's game because he's tough.
Yes.
I think Jaylen Brown still he's got to have a little more of the buy-in.
He can't turn the ball over. He has that problem with the ball handling too once in a while in games.
Think he puts himself on the same level as Tatum, and as great as he is, he's not on the same level as Tatum.
Yes. Now we're going to jump into our last topic. And a couple days ago, the Red Sox messed up big time a little bit. You can take it 50-50. Take it how we want to take it. They lost good old friend Xander Bogaerts. And I want to know your opinions all about this, because here's mine before we start yours. Mine is, all right, the Padres are a little nuts signing him for 11 years. 280 mil, because none of these baseball players no more don't play until they're 40. The cutoff age now in the MLB is 35, maybe 36 max, because there's no more steroids in the game. They're not taking roids anymore. All these players that were like really, really good were taking steroids. So let's talk. So that's a little mess. That's my opinion. But you know what he should have done? He should have took the money from the Red Sox. He should have took like that 6-year, 80 mil. And there was another one, 5-year, 180 mil. He should have took that instead of taking that other money from the Padres. Let's hear your opinion.
Well, I think they lost Xander Bogaerts last offseason.
Yeah.
When they still had exclusive rights to re-sign him. They originally came out. The first offer was 1 year, $30 million extension, which he wasn't going to take. That was a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And then I think they offered him $5 and $90 because deep down inside they didn't want him to take it, and they wanted to act like they gave him a legitimate offer.
Yes.
Once the season started, he told them, "I'm not going to negotiate." So once the season ends, once you're not the exclusive, he can't just deal with you exclusively because you're not under contract anymore. Then it's a roll of the dice. Once, not even like 3 or 4 teams get involved. Once one other team gets involved to drive up the price, that's it. They came out after and said, well, they offered him a 6-year, $150 million. It was still almost 125 to 30 million under.
Yeah.
I know they gave him 11 years. I think if they went to 8 and 200, and it was still 25 million a year. I know players don't play till that long, but you know what, Tommy? Nobody deserves that money in the last 2 or 3 years of their contract. But in 7 or 8 more years, these guys that are making $40 million a year are going to be making $55 million a year, and that $25 million will be a drop in the bucket. So that's my opinion of that. Like when you give them, the economy goes up, the TV money goes up, the revenue goes up, TV contracts go up. So that $25 million in 9 or 10 years is going to be like paying a guy $15 million now. I think I just think that in the Red Sox come out their ownership and they try to spin it like people are not intelligent to think, yeah, we gave him a legit offer. They didn't give him. The same thing is going to happen to Devers.
Yes.
Same thing
will happen to Devers.
If they don't sign Devers when they're the only team that can sign him, then once he goes to the open market and teams can bid, then they're cooked. Because if they don't offer him a legitimate offer now, so you mean to tell me the Red Sox gave Xander last year $6 and $90. So then all of a sudden, or $4 and $90. Then all of a sudden, a year later, when his power numbers weren't that great, now all of a sudden they thought he was $70 million more of a player than he was last year. That's pretty disingenuous in my opinion.
Yes. All right, Brian, we're going to end this podcast, and I want to say thank you for coming on here today. We're going to sign off. Tommy Knows Best Sports Podcast. Come down Tony's Pub and Grill tonight for the Celtics game, and come down here for some French onion soup and some beers and some awesome dinners and some specials. And you guys all have a great rest of the day and night. See you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yep.
I was going to give you a plug and say